So I want to explain, just to get it on record, about the origin of pop-up classes, and then I want to talk to you about your experience. You wanted to talk about this racist TikTok video, and I said, here's what I can offer. We can pick a time, we can do this, we can't require anybody. And you said, okay, I'll give it a try. So what made you willing to experiment in this kind of format?
Well, I think it'll be very beneficial. I think that it will be beneficial towards us as students, and also to anyone else that was interested in having these type of discussions, because it allows us to be open to have these kind of conversations and just to have a middle ground with each other, and talk about things that aren't always discussed, like in school or out of school. And even if you exactly don't know like what we're going to talk about, it's okay to still come and listen, because then it might be something that you're newly experienced to, and then like, oh, I really like this, maybe we can talk about this next time,
Now, you said for this next one, you're doing more preparing, and you even mentioned initially that you think it might require 2 sessions. What's your vision for each session? What's your goal?
I want people to walk away from this with like something that they can reminisce.
Things you need to know about Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory McMichael told the police that there had been several recent break-ins in the neighborhood, and that while in his front yard, he saw the person he suspected from those incidents coming down Satilla Drive, according to a February 23rd Glenn County Police Department incident report. The McMichaels hopped in a truck with guns, the older McMichael with a .357 Magnum, and Travis a shotgun, the report states. When they eventually caught up to Arbery, the young McMichael exited the truck with his gun, and that's when the unidentified male began to violently attack Travis, and the 2 men began fighting over the gun, the McMichael stated. Statement to the police said Travis McMichael shot twice, the police report states. What do you think you would do in his situation? As Arbery, as the recorder?
I don't know what I would do, but my initial reflection is just that video, it seemed so fast.
Yeah.
As Arbery, you really couldn't do anything. I mean, I guess I would plead for them to not kill me like they did to Mr. Arbery, and as a recorder, I would have helped, like said, no, don't do that. Even if he was, let's say if that person was doing wrong, nobody deserves to be murdered in cold blood like that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like as Arbery, I feel like I would have done exactly what Arbery did. If someone approached me, or if 2 men approached me in a car and pulled out guns, I would fight, right? I would feel threatened and react by trying to stop them from killing me.
I know that with the recording of it, Arbery's family didn't like how you recorded it and the fact that he recorded it.
I was just going to say, I think I'd be extremely frustrated. I don't know if the person who was recording could have even done anything, because it's 2 armed insane people basically. But I know if someone close to me was killed and it was being recorded, I'd still be extremely frustrated by that.
Do you think it was right for the male to sit there and record while the incident was happening? And do you think that it's just?
Yes and no, because we wouldn't have known about the situation, because you know how people like to put behind stuff. So it was good that it was caught on tape. But also no, because I don't know, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know if he maybe could have talked the 2 armed men out of shooting Ahmaud. And yeah, it's just 50-50. I don't know what I would do or what he was thinking. So yeah, I don't know if it was right or wrong.
are we substituting pulling out our phone cameras for action?
Exactly.
I mean, yes, we need to see it. There needs to be proof. But we've seen proof doesn't always lead to conviction. I mean,
I have mixed feelings. I am appreciative of this, right? Because the reality is that Black people in America, people of color in America, have been, and I'm going to use this very, lynched, and their bodies have been weaponized since the beginning of Black people in this country, right? And the only difference now is that the upside of technology is that there is actually some type of like proof, right? Because without this video recording, without this being kind of put on blast, I know I wouldn't have heard of it.
Do you think it's morally right for someone to take law into their own hands?
But there's a line, right? When you're putting someone's life on the line, that has to be the only time I feel like that can even be an option is if it's when protecting someone else's life. And in this way, certainly the video, I think, allows us to see, it doesn't appear that Ahmaud in any way was threatening someone else's life.
Exactly. And there was this video online that a white male, he was running in his neighborhood with a TV in his hand. And as he was running, no one said anything to him. They were just like laughing and just joking, and to make a point that, if the roles were flipped, or, no one deems him as, dangerous or threatening, or, oh, he suspect him of being a burglar in our neighborhood.
Yeah, because he didn't fit the role of someone who would do that. And that morally right question, I mean, I feel like, there's that center of race and privilege attached to it, in the sense that I have the right to protect mine and do what's best for me and mine, and at the expense of somebody else. And if someone of color took that approach, then it's a crime, and it is basically a death sentence. And that inequality is going to keep resurfacing and keep resurfacing.
Officials said the charges coming months after the shooting had not been driven by the surge of attention around the country. Gregory McMichael told the police that Mr. Arbery looked like the suspect in a string of nearby break-ins, but according to media reports, there had been just one reported burglary in the neighborhood this year. The thief of a gunman from an unlocked truck parked outside Travis McMichael's house. Why do you think it took so long for the two white males to get arrested? Mind you, Arbery got shot in February, and the two white males got arrested in May.
I don't know. Like, I feel like so much just has to be changed about our justice system. We can't just like pinpoint one thing about it. And like also like with our entire constitution, it's just kind of like things that you're not allowed to do. But I think that a bunch of things need to be changed to what you are allowed to do, if that makes sense. Like, it would cancel out a bunch of things. Does that make sense?
Hey, yeah, so I think the reason it took so long for them to get arrested was because obviously there was two white men who shot and killed this man, and I think one of them was a former officer, right?
Yeah, and like one of the issues with our country is that like our police unions and our police like workforces care more about each other than than the people they protect, or they're supposed to protect. I don't know what's going on with them, but like the like whole weird camaraderie between like the police it's like them ganging up against the citizens is almost the mentality from what I've heard from like ex-police officers. Yeah, like I understand like Mr. Ombogen like saying that like it's like complacency to only like record or only post on social media. But like if you really think about it, social media is like social media is like the radio of our times, you know? Like the radio is the first place that people like that politicians could like speak openly without like having to worry about investors or whatnot. So like social media is like our generation being able to speak out against people who have far more power than us.
Well, I know that in this case, like social media has helped this case, you know, be known and alongside with other cases, which I think is a good thing because, you know, if not a lot of people have heard about this case and many other cases, then, you know, it wouldn't get the attention that it needs. But there's also other cases that, you know, don't get media attention and are just, you know, just another bump in the road or not as, you know, set as like a high priority type. Was his death justifiable and why?
I don't know if you're going to get to this, Anna, so you can tell me if you are. But I get nervous about getting bogged down in the details of one case. I think that's actually what the other side wants, that everything is about the details.
Yeah.
And I think that we've had enough examples, whatever the specifics of the case are, that, as someone said, and I think is floating a little bit in here in the chat, is that we've got a systems problem.
Definitely.
And that may have produced these two men and their atmosphere that they thought gave them permission to do what they did. But I think we're past the point of finding these things exceptional, right? And so what is the move towards, I mean, what is the source of the problem here? I mean, some of you have talked about police unions and the like. And I guess the flip side of the question is, what is the source? I don't think it'll ever go to zero, but what is the source of improving the situation?
In my opinion, I don't think that like any death had like a reasonable explanation, like, and especially not this one. Like I feel like no one should be killed.
Newly released CCTV footage from February 23rd shows a man dressed in clothes matching those of Ahmaud Arbery on a private construction site approximately 240 yards from the scene of Arbery's fatal shooting on that day. The property belongs to Larry English, who said that CCTV had captured a trespasser on the property a number of times before February 23rd. Does this new information change your perception of Arbery and why?
I don't like the idea of bringing in other information added to the story. Because we get that to paint a narrative or to paint a person in a certain light, and we see that over and over and over again, right? A kid is shot, and then we look to see if he's a part of a gang or a drug dealer or something along those lines.
But again, I think that this is the fabric of our nation. There has always been justification to why people of privilege treat people of non-privilege like crap.
And that concludes our pop-up discussion. There will be more in the future. I'm hoping to do a part 2. Me and Kai are going to be doing a poetry workshop. So, and then at the end, we're going to have a big slam.